America was once called the land of opportunity. But in 2025, many people call it the land of layoffs. You can work 10 years, even 20 years. But all that loyalty is reduced to one email. We regret to inform you. Amazon is cutting 14,000 managers. John Deere is pushing out longtime engineers. Ford and GM are laying off workers in Detroit. Even Walmart, where you buy the cheapest milk, is replacing cashiers with self-checkout machines. The dream of stability is gone. Workers are no longer seen as people. They are seen as numbers in a spreadsheet. In this video, we'll talk about 10 companies behind the biggest wave of layoffs in 2025. We'll also explain why this is happening to American workers. This is an independent analysis based on public information. It is not financial or political advice. Amazon removed over 14,000 management jobs in one move. That is about the population of a small town in Ohio. Gone with one click from their Seattle office. Amazon was once seen as a place of innovation and opportunity. But for tens of thousands of workers, Amazon is now only linked with a cold email. We regret to inform you. What's shocking is that Amazon is still making profits. Its revenue is still growing. On Wall Street, stocks often rise when companies cut jobs. So management quickly cut middle managers. These were the very people who worked day and night to keep Prime deliveries on time. Amazon Prime can deliver in 2 days. But layoffs happen instantly. Think of a family in Pennsylvania. The father, age 45, worked as a warehouse manager for 12 years. Every holiday, he told neighbors with pride, "Prime delivers on time because of my team." But last month, a 15-minute online meeting ended his career. Now his family must choose between paying the mortgage or keeping health insurance. The children ask, "Dad, why don't you go to work anymore?" But he has no answer. This is not just one family's story. It is the story of a whole generation. At 40 or 50, finding another job like that is almost impossible. Years of loyalty and overtime were reduced to a line in a spreadsheet. And here is the problem. When Amazon cuts jobs, other companies copy it. On Wall Street, cutting workers is called being healthy. That is the strange logic of American business. Amazon once promised to create jobs for millions. But in 2025, it created more unemployment notices than jobs. Now let's go to Detroit. Once called Motor City. It was a place where a factory job could support a whole family. Today, workers there are getting pink slips instead of paychecks. At Ford, assembly lines in Michigan and Kentucky are going silent. The reason given sounds modern. Ford is restructuring to focus on electric cars. But the hidden truth is that battery prices are high. Tariffs on steel and aluminum are raising costs. Workers became the victims of profit and policy. Take a man in Dearborn, age 52, who spent his whole life at Ford. He was proud that his son drove a car built in his factory. But last month, a short meeting closed the workshop. Now he sits at the kitchen table looking at unpaid bills. People were promised that electric cars would be green, and yes, they are green. But maybe only the green of the money lost by thousands of laid-off workers. When a Ford factory closes, the whole town suffers. Diners lose customers. Repair shops get fewer visits. Schools lose funding. Detroit is not just hurting. It is losing its heartbeat. And Ford is not alone. General Motors is also laying off workers as robots take over the assembly lines. GM cut thousands of workers in 2025. They also said it was to switch to electric cars. But for workers in Detroit or Ohio, The only green they see is the paper of the layoff letter. Electric cars need fewer humans and more robots. In that race, robots always win. Think of a family in Flint. The father worked at GM for 20 years. He once told his kids with pride, "Every car from the factory has my sweat in it." Now he sits at the table with bills he cannot pay. His youngest asks, "Dad, can robots drive me to school?" All he can do is laugh bitterly. Robots don't need lunch breaks. They don't ask for raises. They don't need health insurance. But robots also don't buy cars. They don't eat at diners. They don't pay taxes to support the community. Cutting workers may help GM's short-term profits. But in the long run, the company is cutting off its most loyal customers. This isn't just GM's story. It is Detroit's tragedy. The factories still shine. But the human heart is dimming. The robots won. The middle class lost. And this isn't just in manufacturing. In Silicon Valley, Meta has its own way of cutting jobs. It calls people low performers. In 2025, Meta laid off over 3,600 workers. They were neatly labeled as low performers. Many of them were over 35. It sounds futuristic when Meta says they are shifting to the metaverse and AI. But the real world is filled with unemployed workers. Meta was once seen as a dream workplace. There was free food and beanbag chairs. But when stock prices fall, those perks disappear. The people labeled as low performers were not incompetent. They simply did not fit the new strategy. But once you get that label, finding another job is very hard. It sticks like a stain on your record. So while avatars in the metaverse are healthy and happy, thousands of real people are struggling to pay real rent. Even retail is not safe. Walmart, the place where millions buy milk, bread, and cereal, is also cutting workers. Every self-checkout machine installed replaces several cashiers. In 2025, Walmart is rolling this out everywhere. Customers now scan their own items, doing the work for free. The company says it is about efficiency. But the truth is thousands of cashiers and warehouse workers are quietly disappearing. A woman in Arkansas used to be a full-time cashier at Walmart. Now her job has been replaced by a touchscreen. That job was not rich. But it was enough to pay rent and send the kids to school. Then one day, the store announced, "We are switching to self-checkout." Her paycheck disappeared as quickly as the printed receipts. Now she has only an unstable part-time job. She still goes back to Walmart, but now only as a customer buying groceries. And here is the sad irony. Walmart still says, "Save money, live better." But with thousands losing their jobs, it should be, "Save money, live worse." Because customers are losing jobs but still have to serve themselves. The company reports profits, but the community loses its income. When workers lose money, they spend less. And that also affects Walmart itself. But management spreadsheets never show this simple truth. It is all about making shareholders happy. A supermarket that was once a community hub is now a cold place. You swipe your card, scan your own items, and leave in silence. Walmart may save billions, but Americans are paying the price. Tens of thousands of dreams are being erased. And if a grocery store can be this cold, imagine what happens in car factories. Robots there not only replace workers, but also cast a shadow on the future of jobs. Tesla is a clear example. The Tesla factory is still bright. The production lines are still loud. Robots are still building cars. But one thing is missing. People. In 2025, Tesla cut 10% of its global workers. With more than 140,000 employees, this means an entire small city disappeared. The reason is the same as always: restructuring. Tesla said it needed to compete in the global electric car market. But the real truth is pressure from China and high battery costs. So Tesla cut people to protect profits. Robots don't need overtime. They don't need health insurance. But they also don't buy cars. They don't rent homes. They don't pay school taxes. Tesla was once praised as a green job creator. But in 2025, the only green was the faces of thousands of unemployed workers. And when you lose your job, the only green you see is the unpaid electricity bill. The impact goes beyond the factory gates. When 10% of the workforce disappears, the whole town suffers. Breakfast shops, repair garages, and schools lose money. Neighborhoods grow quiet. Tesla can be proud of self-driving cars. But who will drive the lives of unemployed workers? This shows that in 2025, no industry is safe. Even Tesla, a company that once symbolized the future, cut off the very people who built its success. And if Tesla is struggling, what about Intel? The company that was once the heart of Silicon Valley. Every Intel chip was once seen as the heartbeat of American technology. But in 2025, that heartbeat slowed down. Intel announced it would cut 25% of its global workforce. With over 120,000 workers, this means nearly 30,000 people lost their jobs. This is not a small adjustment. It is a deep cut that is making Silicon Valley bleed. The official reason: restructuring for competitiveness. The real reason: falling PC chip sales, stronger rivals like TSMC and Samsung, and bad investments. The AI market is growing fast. Other companies are moving forward. Intel is stuck with old systems. So, like others on Wall Street, it chose the fastest way: cut jobs. In Oregon, a 37-year-old engineer worked at Intel for 12 years. He helped design new chips. He thought this job would last until retirement. But one morning, he opened his email. The subject line read, "Mandatory HR meeting, urgent." Less than 20 minutes later, his account was locked. His badge was cancelled. His career stopped, like a computer with the power cord pulled. Intel's old slogan was, "Intel inside." But in 2025, workers joke, the only thing inside is HR emails. The layoffs hit not only engineers. Whole communities near Intel plants in Oregon, Arizona, and New Mexico lost money. Restaurants, repair shops, and schools all suffered. This is not just Intel's sad story. It is a warning for all of America's tech industry. If Intel, once the strongest name in chips, is failing, then what jobs are safe? And speaking of cold decisions, no one does it like Salesforce. Salesforce used AI as a double-edged sword. On one side, it called AI the future. On the other side, it used AI to cut workers. CEO Mark Benioff said, "AI will help us save thousands of jobs." It sounded positive. But in truth, save jobs meant cut jobs. In 2025, Salesforce removed over 4,000 customer support workers. These were the very people who once connected the company with customers. Now, when customers call, they hear, "Sorry, staff have been replaced by AI." Chatbots never get sick. They never ask for lunch breaks. They never ask for more pay. But they also cannot calm angry customers. And they cannot feed the families of the workers they replaced. Salesforce calls this resource optimization. Workers call it, "AI took my job," and this sets a dangerous path. If customer support can be replaced, why not sales, marketing, or programming? This question now haunts many middle-class Americans. Will my job be next? So don't be surprised if the next time you call a big company, a robotic voice says, "We care about our customers, but what about the employees?" Now, let's go back to Detroit. If Detroit was once Motor City, Stellantis in 2025 is making it Unemployment City. Stellantis, which owns Chrysler, Jeep, and Dodge, announced thousands of layoffs in Illinois and Ohio. To the company, workers were just numbers deleted from a spreadsheet. The saddest image is at the Jeep Belvidere plant in Illinois. It once produced hundreds of thousands of SUVs every year. Now, the assembly line is silent. The conveyor belts are rusty. Hundreds of workers walk out carrying cardboard boxes with their belongings. A city that once lived by the heartbeat of engines has gone quiet. Stellantis says it is restructuring to focus on electric cars and save costs. But the truth is simple. Electric cars need fewer people. Robots weld faster than humans. And robots never ask for a union. Jeep's slogan is, "Go anywhere, do anything." But for the workers, the slogan now feels like, "Go home, do nothing." The impact is not just on families. It is also on America's image. Detroit was once a global symbol of strength, built on steel and sweat. By 2025, that image is fading. Middle-class Americans no longer feel proud of Dodge or Jeep. Instead, they feel bitter. That car was made with jobs taken from us. Stellantis is just one name on the list. But it represents a bigger story. From Amazon to Google. From Ford to Walmart. From Intel to Stellantis. The whole United States is becoming a job graveyard. And in that graveyard, every American worker could be next. We have just gone through 10 stories. But all had the same message. Workers are no longer seen as assets. They are seen as costs in a spreadsheet. America, once the land of opportunity, is becoming the land of pink slips. The saddest part is not just losing jobs. It is losing security. It is losing pride. It is losing the belief that hard work brings stability. Corporations still report profits. Stocks still rise. CEOs still get millions in bonuses. But workers, engineers, and teachers, the ones who keep the country alive, are left struggling. They sit at kitchen tables, deciding whether to pay the electricity bill or buy medicine for their kids. This is not just numbers. This is our story. This is your story, my story, and our neighbor's story. Because if 2025 taught us anything, it is this. No one is safe. So what do you think? Is this only a temporary storm? Or is it the new normal for America? Have you seen a friend or family member lose their job? Share your story in the comments so we know we are not alone. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This way you won't miss future videos like this one. The content here is based on reports and public sources. It is for information and analysis, not to attack anyone. Things may change, so please check other sources before making financial or career decisions. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next video.